You heard it here. That's all it takes to be a communist sympathizer. If you took the day off on Labor Day, welcome to the movement. We are glad to have you.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
We've got this clip from NEWSMAX about Labor Day. It is about Labor Day, so it's a couple of weeks old, but it's very fun, so I wanted to get to it. Well, let's just play it. Let's just play the clip.
That right there shows you exactly what they represent. Communism, socialism, labor unionizing to wield power over employees and employers. I mean, just look at the roots of May Day, also known as Labor Day. In 1889, May 1st was designated May Day, a day in support of workers by an international federation of socialist groups and trade unions in commemoration of the Haymarket Affair, a violent confrontation that took place on May 4th, 1886 in Chicago. But here in America, labor unions, who operated much like socialism, wanted their day of recognition, but in an effort to hide the obvious payoff to big labor, the powers that be, or were, decided to hide the corrupt union extortion by making the day off from work the first day in September, not May 1st, a work holiday now known as Labor Day. So yeah, Tucker took the day off to celebrate the labor unions, their corrupt history and their mafia crime family origins. And yeah, he's replaying some stale old interviews, but I thought we should be here for you with a brand new show. If you're a regular viewer of The Balance, I'm glad you're here with me. Makes it all worthwhile. And if you're a new viewer, a Tucker viewer maybe, you're always welcome here. We hope you stay. So how about a little history lesson for the Tuckers and the rest of the communist sympathizers who celebrate Labor Day by taking their news shows off?
Tucker and the rest of the communist sympathizers who celebrate Labor Day, folks.
That's all. You heard it here. That's all it takes to be a communist sympathizer. If you took the day off on Labor Day, welcome to the movement. We are glad to have you.
If you'll
get your red card in the mail.
If you did not drop to your knees on Labor Day and perform fellatio for your boss, then you're a commie. Man.
Some folks missed the memo, but if only you were a regular listener to NEWSMAX, you would know the truth.
I mean, it's pretty funny because he does go into...
I appreciate him at least letting his listeners know about May Day. Perhaps they were unaware, and now they know that the real Labor Day is on May Day.
Right, but so he tracks that, the American Labor Day is strangely in September instead of on May 1st when the rest of the world celebrates Labor Day. But he does it as if the powers that be were like
doing a solid for us labor people.
Doing a solid for the commies. Like, yeah. I love communism so much. So we're definitely going to do a Labor Day, but we've got to hide it from somebody.
Good, hardworking, honest American folks.
I mean, these are the people in power. Who are they going to hide it from if they're like these big commies? But so they're going to do Commie Labor Day in September to celebrate the commies, but they're hiding it from somebody.
Yeah, you can't be too flagrant with your communist sympathies, right?
Yeah, I don't know. That was actually for the reality of the history is that May Day does have left-wing socialist anarchist type of roots in
absolutely.
May Day.
That is true.
And
truth.
These May Day celebrations sprang up organically, and so the conservative elements of the labor movement in the American Federation of Labor, along with conservative elements in the government, wanted to move this energy to having a day off to celebrate Labor Day, to cleave it from our history, cleave it from the more radical elements of our history, and turn it into this patriotic American Labor Day.
Right. Fly your flag, drink your beer, grill your burger.
I mean, literally, all you have to do is read what the president of the American Federation of Labor was saying about the reasons that they were doing this at the time. Instead of it was explicitly to kick out the commies so that people would not understand that that you are part of a radical lineage if you are in the labor movement. And that this radical lineage is what has gotten you so much of the things that it is such a driving force in labor. They wanted people not to understand that because they were not part of that radical lineage.
Yeah, I think that's been a long-standing theme in American history, is to obscure radicalism where it has existed organically, and then to portray non-radical elements as radicals to try to discredit them, right? So someone who is on the far right, like Tucker Carlson, you can kind of glibly say is a communist sympathizer. And you know, they'll make out Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden as if they are communist sympathizers, or perhaps even communists themselves, while obscuring the real tradition, the real radical tradition we have in this country of people who did come out of communist and anarchist and socialist traditions, but who are nonetheless, or perhaps because of that, tremendous heroes in our history. People like Helen Keller, people like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Albert Einstein, and the list goes on of people who, you know, whose radical histories have been obscured so that they could be sanitized. But yeah, it's pretty hilarious that if you took Labor Day off, that's somehow synonymous with communist sympathies. If only communists were as strong as they are in the imagination of people like that guy, we might have quite the different country.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, but something you said that we need to talk about at some point, I think, in future shows is the amount of purges that have taken place within the labor movement to purge those who are radical, those who are on the left. It's something that's been ongoing since really the beginning of American labor movement, and it has never stopped. The Red Scare did not go away. You know, there have been a couple of waves with the Red Scare, and it never fully disappeared from the ether. It just sort of mostly won.
Right.
They kicked out all the radicals time after time, you know. We saw what happened with the IWW after the height of its success. We saw the purges in the 50s, during the McCarthy era, and it has continued. You know, the idea that there's just all these communist sympathizers running around big labor, okay, that tells me how much you don't know about communist or big labor, frankly, because try walking into an AFL-CIO meeting proudly proclaiming your communism and see how far you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, and you know, so there is a serious discussion to be had there about the way radicals pushed the labor movement to be stronger. They were the intellectuals, they were the soldiers of labor, and much of the success that we had in this country for labor and from labor, we owe that to our radical forefathers and foremothers.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons I would argue that labor has been in decline for so many decades, is because you took out the best and the brightest and
the most dedicated,
the most intellectual, the most thoughtful. You took those people out. And so, of course, material conditions are, you know, the primary thing there when we're looking at neoliberalism and globalization and so on. But that those things happened to a labor movement that had been neutered, more or less, by its purges of its radical flanks, was absolutely a factor. And that's something that Stanley Aronowitz wrote about. And it's something, yeah, maybe we can explore in future episodes.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free, to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.